So just leave it on stop now?
Yeah. You got dead air right now.
Okay.
Hit record. Okay, go on.
A very pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show. We're back for another year. We've taken some time off, and it's great to be back. Great to be talking some Bethune-Cookman football. The last time I believe we were on the air was almost 1 year and about 10 months ago. We were here, and we're back. We're finally back on the air, on the station, back for another year of Hill Wildcats X's and O's show. It's been a tough year and 10 months for our Wildcat community, for every community. We've lost some of our near and dear Wildcat fans. And this show is dedicated to those Wildcat fans that we have missed and lost during that time. Myself, along with Jerry Bell with Hill Wildcats, welcome you to the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show. We hope that you will tune in every Thursday night. There will be one Thursday night where our Cats will be in action against Alabama A&M. We will be on the radio at Wednesday night. We'll change it to Wednesday night to be able to be at that contest, and we might do a live feed from that contest. I am your host, Daryl Williams, from the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show, and I am joined by a very, 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 very near and dear friend, special guest, Wildcat connoisseur. Mr. Ralph Smith. How's it going, Ralph Smith? Welcome to the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show. Ralph is going to be here hosting the show with me. Ralph, take it away.
I'm glad to be here. I cannot wait until football starts, and more importantly, I can't wait to see the Wildcats on Saturday.
I truly understand. The Wildcats, we're going to play some football. And we're going to even travel out to Texas, University of Texas, El Paso. The Wildcats opening their first game since November 23rd, 2019. The first action against someone else. We will travel out to UTEP this Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So we'll go out there right next to Mexico, and we'll kick it off. Give us a little introduction about yourself, Ralph.
Okay, so I'm a 1974 graduate of Bethune-Cookman University. I retired in 2005 from Kraft Foods as a business unit manager, and I've been spending most of my time either fishing or watching football. And I'm excited. I usually attend most of Bethune-Cookman baseball games and most of the basketball games. And again, as Daryl mentioned before, I'm also missing one of my really true and dear Wildcat partner, Thomas Frazier. He and I went to majority of all the games together, and he's going to definitely be missed this year.
Most definitely. We're going to miss Thomas, and we're going to definitely miss Susie and Norma Bland, and the list kind of goes on, but we're here. They would love for us to keep pushing forward, and that's what we're doing here. We're going to keep pushing forward and honoring and enjoying the Wildcats as they would have us to do. Many changes around Bethune-Cookman over this last time since we met here on the show. Ralph, tell us about some of the changes that have happened at Bethune-Cookman.
Well, we had quite a few kids that graduated during the time that we were shut down. We got some key players back on offense, but we lost some key players on offense. We got a brand new quarterback. We got a couple of brand new running backs. The defense, we lost quite a few people on the defense, but we still have Yogi, and Yogi is, I think, probably one of the premier defensive coordinators in our league, and I'm sure he's going to have the Wildcats ready to go on Saturday. We do have a new offensive coordinator, so things are looking great. I think that Coach Sims and his team is going to be ready. I cannot wait until we get into the SWAC conference. It's going to be fun, and I'm sure that everybody's going to enjoy that.
Most definitely, a lot of changes over there, not just with the football program, but just as a school as a whole. Since the last time we met, Dr. Crite was our president. We know he's moved on to bigger and better pastures, and now Dr. Powell is there as the interim president and doing great things at the Bethune-Cookman University. We've also had some other changes in the athletic program. There, a new athletic director. We've had longtime AD Lynn Thompson retired from the program. Lynn put a lot of work and effort into making Bethune-Cookman athletics what it is. I know you know him personally as I do as well. Ralph, tell me about some of the things that Mr. Thompson brought to Bethune-Cookman to bring us where we are now.
Well, first of all, Lynn brought heart and soul. Lynn was a Wildcat, been a Wildcat all his life, and it's going to be hard to think about Bethune-Cookman Wildcats and not think about Lynn Thompson, because Lynn was an outstanding leader. He took a athletic program, and he was a consistent winner. Even though we were one of the smallest schools in the MEAC, we were always contending for a title. And I know we're going to continue to doing that, but Lynn set the groundwork, and it's going to be a hard pair of shoes to fill, but I'm sure we're going to be able to do that.
Then not just, and I know we're here to talk about X's and O's, not just football, but basketball. Both of our basketball coaches have moved on, and we have now replaced them. Tell us a little bit about those replacements going out and coming in.
Well, on the men's side of the ball, we got a former NBA All-Star. He's coached previously at 2 other universities, and he brings a lot in. I would say he's coming in with a different color shade, so I'm not quite sure what to expect from him. The young lady that we have, she has quite a impressive resume, and I think we're going to be there. We look like we retained most of the women athletes that we had when the previous coach left. So that's going to be interesting to see. Our baseball coach is back. The coach that we had in 2019, he's back, but half of that team is new as well. So again, I think this is going to be an exciting year for us. I think we're going to be okay. I think we're probably going to have some disappointments, but I think we're going to celebrate a lot as well.
Most definitely, Raph. I think we will celebrate, and that brings us to our next thing. MEAC memories. We know we've been in the MEAC for almost 40 years in the MEAC, and we have made a change to the SWAC conference. Let's talk about the memories from the MEAC conference. Bethune-Cookman was in the MEAC since 1979 until June of this year. We left the MEAC for the SWAC, and we'll cover a little bit about the SWAC and do a SWAC introduction a little later. We do know during that period in time that no one hardly, there were 3 teams in the MEAC who were playing football during the spring. Due to health reasons and things of that nature, our Wildcats, amongst other teams, decided not to play in that contest or play in contests for the 2020 season. But we maintained. We still had practices. I do know things were a little haywire, but we're back. We're back to where we were. Ralph, tell me a little bit about your experience in the MEAC.
we pretty much know the games that we were going to go to it, and we will have a struggle. One of that is South Carolina State.
Definitely.
We knew that
Definitely.
was going to be a game. And, sometimes, people would say that they were more of a rivalry than Florida A&M, because that game was always a nail biter. North Carolina Central, we've had some absolutely thrilling games with them over the last several years. Also with A&T, we were actually dominating them until the last 4 or 5 years, and then they started dominating us.
Definitely.
So we're going to miss that. And even last Thursday night, even though we switched to the SWAC, I was actually rooting for North Carolina Central. And I felt kind of bad because I'm a SWAC guy, but it's kind of hard to forget the memories.
I don't believe you were by yourself with rooting for those guys. I think they're, that's where we come from. You can't forget home, and the MEAC was home for a long time. Just some memories. 1952, Wildcats upset FAMU for homecoming. Everyone knows the storied rivalry. Everyone knows the storied rivalry, and everyone knows you don't lose homecoming. 1952, we go into we go to play FAMU for homecoming, and we beat them 8-7 in a homecoming stunner. That's just some of the facts from the MEAC, and it continues to go on and on. Continues to go on and on. We know for the past 9 years, let's say the last regular season game in the season, we knew who ruled that game for the last 9 years. Ralph, tell me about some of your classic memories.
Well, I think one of the one that I remember the most is the one that we won in the last second. I think the score was 18-16 or 18-17. Bethune had a choice of tying the score or going for a win, and we went for the win. And that was the most classic game I saw. I thought I couldn't believe that. I thought so sure he was going to kick a extra point and then go into overtime, but he went for the win, and we won that game.
We won that game. Let's bring us to a little current time. Rashean Mathis. Everyone knows Rashean, second round pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars. In 2002, while in the MEAC, registered his 14th interception on the season. Broke Dean Cain's record. If you don't remember who Dean Cain is, that's Superman. Rashean Mathis comes in out of little lowly Bethune-Cookman University and breaks a national record, Dean Cain's record in 2002. And the history goes on and on and on. We're going to miss the MEAC. We are still playing teams in the MEAC. We're playing South Carolina State this year. So we're going to miss the MEAC, but it's time to move forward. It's time to move forward. We'll remember the memories in the MEAC, but we will move forward towards the SWAC. Ralph?
Well, even though we moved to the SWAC, we still got a couple of teams that we used to play year in and year out, and that was Alabama A&M and Alabama State. So going back playing them is like
Old time.
Old time. It's back in the day.
Old time.
I can't wait. We're going to go to Albany, Alabama State. I can't wait to play them. That's going to be exciting. Playing Grambling going to be excited because the last time we went to Grambling, we beat them on their home court. And in fact, we scored, I think, with minutes left in the game to beat them. And I'm sure they haven't forgotten that. So I'm looking forward to that game as well.
Most definitely, Ralph. Definitely looking forward to that game and all the matchups that we have this year. All the matchups that we have, and we look forward to being at each one of them. We'll move ahead in our show, and it's that time. Welcome to the SWAC. Welcome to the Southwestern Athletic Conference. I'm sure many of you watched Media Day with our coming out party for our SWAC competition and 12-team league super conference, Ralph. Super conference is what they have billed the SWAC. Give me your take on that.
Well, they became super when they brought the two Florida teams in. That's where they became.
Preach it,
super.
brother. Preach it.
We're gonna bring something special, and even though I don't like Florida A&M, but when you bring somebody from Mississippi or Louisiana to play Florida A&M, I guess I'm gonna become a rattler that day. I mean, because you don't come to Florida and beat Florida boys up.
Right. We just don't have that.
No, we don't have
We
that.
just don't have that. More about that a little later, as we know the matchup coming up down in Miami this weekend on Sunday. Ralph, Bethune-Cookman, after 40 years, moves to the Southwest Athletic Conference. We have history in the SWAC. 2 years ago, we played in Atlanta in the MEAC SWAC Challenge. That game started off very close. And as we talked about here in the studio, Wavy Davy, at that point in time, mascot runs on the field, and that was a game changer. After that, it seemed to upset a couple of Cookman players, and the rest is history. Fast forward. Go ahead, Ralph.
Well, I don't care. I don't know whether or not Wavy Davy had a significant part in changing. We had their number, and we were going to get him anyway. I think what people don't realize, and over the years with Bethune, it all starts with defense.
It does.
It all starts with defense.
It does.
And that's how we got control of that game, with our defense. So whether he would have ran on the field or not, the tide was changing anyway. We let them celebrate that last touchdown because they weren't going to get any more.
Right.
And we were ready to go.
Right.
We were ready to go. And that's what's going to surprise the SWAC conference, is the way we play defense, the way we go after the ball. And that's what's going to surprise them.
How do you think we'll fare in the SWAC conference? Let's expound on that a little bit. I know where they finished, ranked us to finish in the SWAC conference. Frankly, they ranked us to finish near the bottom. If we look at the whole conference of the SWAC, fourth in the East Conference, but in the total SWAC, and there's two divisions in the SWAC. There's the East and the West. Of course, we're in the East Division. What do you think about our finish? Or where they have us ranked to finish?
Well, rankings is exactly what it is. It's someone's opinion on what they think based on a set of numbers and what you've done in the past, and they come up with what they think is going to happen. Well, you know what? If rankings were true, then it doesn't make sense to even play the games.
Definitely so. It makes no sense.
But for me, the rankings don't mean anything because they never seen us before. They don't know what we can do. However, if you look at it, we're probably one of the most successful MEAC teams against the SWAC. Because Bethune-Cookman, over the last 10 or 12 years, is 9-0 against the SWAC.
Definitely.
So, we don't have the name that Florida A&M has, but we're going to show up and show out. That's
Guaranteed.
what we're going to do.
Guaranteed to show up and show out. There you have it, fans. SWAC introduction. We're happy to be in the SWAC. Ralph, we'll take it to our schedule for the SWAC coming up this weekend. Major games. There is one being played tonight. They're in the SWAC conference. Tonight we have Mississippi Valley State versus Murray State. Before we cover that, let's talk a little bit about North Carolina Central versus Alcorn, which was played last weekend. What did you see in that game?
Classic Meade football. Ground and pound.
Ground and pound.
Ground and pound.
Ground and pound. At the beginning of that contest, who did you think was going to take that contest?
I actually thought that because of all the new people that North Carolina Central had on their football team and all the returning superstars allegedly that Alcorn had, I thought Alcorn was going to blow them out. But
story
one-
history. They talked about the quarterback
Yeah.
and game day there, college game day. All you saw was the purple and gold from Alcorn State all over the place there. Quarterback. That's you heard his name a lot coming into that contest. What factored into that game to give Central the win?
I think the offensive and defensive lines. I think that offensive line dominated the line, and they ran the ball. Central ran the ball, and then the defensive line would not let Felix, Alcorn quarterback, get comfortable in the pocket.
Right.
Alcorn just wanted to pass the ball, and they had a lot of success early running the ball, but they wanted to pass the ball. But Central had a plan. They basically ran the ball, and every once in a while they would throw a pass to keep Alcorn off balance. But it was MEAC football. It was ground and pound.
Ground and pound football, and that's what won in the end. That is what truly won the game in the end. Very interesting football coming up this weekend. As I said earlier, right now Mississippi Valley State versus Murray State. That game just kicked off at 8 p.m. We'll move to Saturday. Miles College against Alabama State. Who are you taking that one, Ralph?
I'm going to take Alabama State.
That's a home game for Alabama State.
Yes.
6 p.m. Central Standard Time kickoff there in that game. Let's move on. You have Southern versus Troy University.
I'm going to take Troy.
Yeah, I would take that's a 7 p.m. kickoff on ESPN 3. That game is being played home in Troy, Alabama. Woo! South Carolina State versus Alabama A&M. That game in the spring, Alabama A&M kind of handled South Carolina State in the spring, but we believe. What do you think Buddy Pugh's going to bring into that game?
Ground and pound. You're not
Against the SWAC champions.
I call it the pretty boy conference. But Buddy is going to be ready for that game, and South Carolina State is going to be ready for that game. I think it's going to be an exciting game, and I think that game will be won by a field goal.
Won by a field goal.
Yes.
Won by a field goal. Lane versus Arkansas Pine Bluff. That's a 7 p.m. kickoff in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. They were the runners-up in the SWAC on last year. Or during the spring. I'm sorry. Who do you take in that one, Ralph?
I take Arkansas Pine Bluff. I think that Arkansas Pine Bluff is going to just, with the team that they had in the spring, I think they're going to overpower Lane.
Prairie View A&M versus Texas Southern. That's an 8 p.m. kickoff on ESPN Plus. That game is being played in Houston, Texas. Another two SWAC teams playing against each other.
Well, that's going to be interesting. I think Prairie View will win that game. I think Prairie View will win that game by 10.
Prairie View by 10. And we'll skip that next matchup because we're going to expound on that a little bit more here shortly. Then we have Jackson State versus Florida A&M. 3 p.m. kickoff on ESPN2 down in Miami Gardens, Florida.
Mr. Wesley, I know you and I talked about this game. And I know you out there listening tonight, but I'm going with A&M on this game. And I think A&M is going to win this game by 10 points. If you look at paper, it shouldn't even be a contest because Jackson State got all the transfers, but you can't win this game on paper. And I think A&M is going to be ready, and I think A&M win this game.
For our fans out in our listening area and on Facebook, YouTube, Ralph, what does down on paper mean?
Down on paper mean that you look good on paper, but you haven't proved anything. And I think that Jackson State is holding their head up because they got all the transfers from the Power 5 schools, but they haven't played a game yet. So I think that A&M is ready. I think that team that Coach Simmons has put together it's going to be ready, and it's going to be a very interesting game.
Very interesting game. That game, as I said, 3 p.m. kickoff on ESPN2. Orange Blossom Classic down in Hard Rock Stadium down in Miami Gardens, Florida. Very interesting. I know Jackson State traveled to Miami on last night. They got in last night, and I believe FAMU got in today. Those teams are down there preparing for a very warm game that's going to be a great start to SWAC competition. Then we'll jump down to, we got Grambling versus Tennessee State. That game being played in Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton, Ohio, where it was a few weeks ago. Beautiful stadium, beautiful setup. It's great to have HBCU football being played in Tom Benson Stadium. Ralph, tell me about this.
Well, here we go. Another celebrity coach.
Eddie George, right?
Eddie
Tennessee
George
State.
from Ohio State fame, but I think I'm going with Grambling on that one. I think Grambling is going to win that game, even though they didn't do very well during the spring. I think they're going to win that game, and I think that game, I think they'll win by 3.
3 points for
Yep.
Grambling. All right. 3 points for Grambling. Woo. Anything you want to expound on?
No, I'm just excited about the Wildcats. I think Coach Sims got his boys ready. I'm excited because I think the fan base is going to back Coach Sims 100%, and I'm just excited because I think we have a pretty decent team, and I think we're going to make some noise in the SWAC.
And football is finally back.
Finally.
Football is finally back in
back.
Daytona over on Mary McLeod Bethune's campus. Finally back. I know you and I have ventured out to practice to check our Wildcats out, and it was a great reunion talking to Coach Sims and the coaches, other coaches, and the players, and I'm just excited. I'm just excited. The build-up has been coming. We've been watching other people play during the spring and things of that nature. Now it's our time. It's our time. So we'll be sure to bring you up to speed on Bethune-Cookman football here shortly. Your Wildcats are headed to University of Texas at El Paso on Saturday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's go through our rankings here, our SWAC rankings, computer rankings. We have number 8 is Alabama A&M. They're in the SWAC East. And 15 is Arkansas Pine Bluff. They're in the SWAC West. Number 20, Florida A&M. They're in the SWAC East, and this is as of week 1. 28 is Prairie View A&M. And they're in the SWAC West. 31 is Alcorn State. They are also in the SWAC West. 33 is Southern, and they are also in the SWAC West. Number 41, your Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, coming in the SWAC East. 75 is Jackson State. They're also in the SWAC East along with us. Number 80, Alabama State. They're in the SWAC East. 82, Grambling State. They're in the SWAC West. 108 is Mississippi Valley State. They're in the SWAC East, and we know we invite them in here for homecoming. And then 126 is Texas Southern in the SWAC West. After this week, Ralph, how much of this will be shaken up?
That's interesting. I think that Alabama A&M is going to lose. I kind of think that Pine Bluff is going to win their game easily. I think A&M is going to win. Prairie View should beat Texas Southern. I think it's going to be all scrambled, but it's also going to stay the same. I don't think it's going to change that much. I think it's going to be the same.
You think it's going to be the same?
Yep. With a couple of movements, but nothing major.
So, who moves up at the end of this week? Or at the end of this weekend?
Okay, the way I look at this, I think Florida A&M, I think Arkansas Pine Bluff, Prairie View. That's who I see moving up. I see A&M moving down. Alcorn is already
That's Alabama
lost.
A&M moving
Alabama
down.
A&M, I think. Alcorn is already lost. Jackson State moved down. Alabama State will move up. Grambling is going to move up, and Mississippi Valley is going to move down. They're already down in Texas Southern.
There you have it. There you have it for the recap of the FCS computer rankings from the SWAC. Here's a quick word from our sponsor, Alpha One Staffing and Search Firm. Alpha One Staffing, your leading human resources firm, partners with companies to identify, train, and hire the best talent. Proudly celebrating 12 years in business, we specialize in executive search and temporary staffing for administrative, technical, and special events. We can help you organize a safe virtual hiring experience from interview to onboarding. Allow us to help you hire the perfect personnel by contacting 855-525-7421 or alpha1staffing.com today. We'd like to thank our Alpha One search firm for their support of the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show. Go and see the good folks over there at alpha1staffing.com for all your staffing needs. Ralph, we're going to move forward. Our BCU football overview and new faces. As you said earlier in the show, there are a lot of new faces in the Wildcat brand of football. Let's start off from the start. We have a new offensive coordinator over on campus now. Coach James comes from Miles College. Tell us a little bit about Coach James' stock and about when he was a player and now as a coach.
Well, he was an outstanding quarterback at Tuskegee. The type of offense he's run is very similar to what we've been running the last several years. He appears to be a run-first coordinator, which is more in the Bethune-Cookman tradition. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does with the pieces that he has.
Most definitely. A heck of a player at quarterback coming there from Tuskegee and bringing a lot of what he's learned from Miles College. He was at Miles for 9 years, 3 as the coordinator there at Miles, and brings a wealth of experience over to Bethune-Cookman as our offensive coordinator. Tell us about quarterback play.
Well, we have a new signal caller, Patrick Shannon, who transferred over from University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. Really an outstanding passer. Has looked really great in practice. We're looking for great things from him. Also, though, we also have another transfer quarterback from Fayetteville. He looks good. And then we have our own guy that we recruited 3 years ago, Mr. Black.
Devin Black, yeah.
Devin Black, who looked outstanding in practice yesterday. I mean, he looked really great. So I think we're going to be okay at the quarterback position.
I think we're going to be okay at the quarterback position. Then we brought in at least one freshman. The gentleman from Jones High School is here on campus. So we have a plethora of quarterbacks to see this year with the new offensive coordinator, and we'll see how that goes. Let's move on to the running back position. We've stayed pretty solid.
Pretty solid.
Quite a few returning players. Jimmy Robinson III.
Ladarius.
Yeah, Ladarius Wilson. Mr. Bird. Mr. Bird comes back for another year of Bethune-Cookman football, and we're stacked.
And we got a very, very exciting freshman from Arkansas.
Very exciting.
Very, very exciting, and I'm looking really forward to seeing him play.
Most definitely. Looking forward to seeing him play also. Let's move on to our wide receivers.
Well, we got Marcus Riley, who I think is probably the best route runner on our team. I think he's going to be outstanding. And I know we said wide receivers, but we got 2 great tight ends two 6'6" tight ends.
Teron Mallard.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we got his name is lost on me, but
Everett.
yeah, he transferred here from Louisville, where he was a starting tight end there, but he had to sit out a year. So he was on Bethune-Cookman team in 2019, but he didn't play. But he has, in as much as he's a tight end, I think he has wide receiver qualities, even though he's 6'6".
Yes, definitely. He can definitely stretch the field with the best of them. He's rangy. He's a large guy. You absolutely, as a defender, have to body that guy to get him not to catch
Yes,
the ball.
definitely.
We were at practices yesterday, and we were in our little goal line drill. Had to get it into the end zone, and Devin Black, to that young man, nothing but net, as we would call it in basketball. But a lot of great things to look forward to from our wide receiver tight end core. Wide receiver
Yes,
tight end
definitely.
core.
Definitely.
Let's move on to Prince Pearson specialty. That O-line. Ralph, I have heard there's been some inklings throughout Volusia County that Bethune-Cookman has the biggest line in black college football, HBCU football. What's your take on that from seeing it firsthand?
Well, they are big. And I think Prince does an excellent job in getting his line together. I think we're going to be okay. We are going to miss our all-conference center, though.
Yes, definitely.
We're going to miss that kid. And we're breaking in a couple of other kids to be centered. But he was the man on that line, and he made all that other stuff work. So it's going to be interesting. I think we look pretty good in practice. But again, it's kind of hard to say how well you looking against your own teammates.
Right.
We got to play first.
Right.
And then
almost over 600 days since we last really strapped it up and went out there for real.
So that's going to be interesting.
It is,
And,
very much so.
I think we'll find out first thing Saturday night.
Most definitely. First thing Saturday night. We'll move on to our defensive side of the ball. D-line.
The D-line is going to be interesting because we lost the D-line. We lost just about everybody on that D-line.
We absolutely did.
And we have maybe 4 or 5 JUCO players on our defensive line. We're not as big as we usually are, but I think we are quicker than we were in 2019, but not as big.
And for our listening audience, why does that matter in the SWAC? As far as quicker, not bigger.
Well, primarily the SWAC is a passing conference.
Definitely.
So really, you don't need a whole lot of buck on the line. You need quickness.
Right. We're trying to get in the backfield.
We're trying to get back there and make him uncomfortable.
Definitely.
And that's where the quickness comes in.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
So whereas in the MEAC, if you were that size, that's ground and pound. So
yes, definitely.
Yeah, that would be a problem.
Definitely.
So it's going to be interesting. I think we'll be okay. Because again, I go back to the game Thursday night. Alcorn was running the ball very well. And they decided that they'd much rather pass. And when they started passing, that's where they started having problems.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely so. Let's go to our linebacker core.
Well, we do have returning number 12. And I said this to Daryl yesterday. I said Jackson State don't want to see this kid ever again. He is absolutely a hoss, and he's good. The other 2 linebackers are JUCO guys, and I think they're going to be fine. They are quick. They have some size. I think we'll be okay there.
Let's go to our defensive backfield.
Well, the only guy that I recognize back there is Henry Miller. In fact, he intercepted one yesterday in practice and take it all the way back. We have some really good freshmen coming in. I think there's going to be impact, but we have to wait and see. Because again, papers say one thing, and once they get in the game, it tells a totally different story.
It truly does. It truly does. So we'll see. Ralph, give me your overall makeup of the team and what you expect to see in the 2021 season.
Well, personally, I don't think we're going to have a problem scoring. I think we're going to be okay scoring. If I have a concern, it would be early on with our defense, getting them to the point where they can gel together. I feel that they have the talent, but getting them to gel, and I think the two games we play up front with UTEP and Central Florida is going to kind of bring them together. And by the time we get into conference, I think that defensive team should start gelling.
So we'll definitely gel. You think Alabama A&M game, your first home game?
That's going to be a good game, but you know what? I got to see Alabama A&M play South Carolina State first to give me an idea of how we're going to fare against them, because they're going to pass it 80-90% of the time. They usually hardly ever run. They usually pass. So it's going to be interesting.
I venture to ask, what are you looking for in the 2021 season out of your Bethune-Cookman Wildcats?
I would be happy with 6-4, because the first two games, I think we can play well a couple of quarters. But once we get in conference, it's where I really start taking a serious look at our football team. Well, once we get in conference, the first two games, I think we'll do okay, but I don't expect us to win those games. So I'm looking for us not have a problem scoring, and then gelling as a defensive unit, because that's a relatively new unit. That's the way I see it.
Offense, new coordinator came in July 31st, right at the start of camp.
Right.
Tell me what you're looking for on the offensive side of the ball. What's your expectations for the offensive side of the ball?
I'm looking for continuity. I'm looking for continuity and putting people in the right position to make plays. And that's what I'm looking for. And I think in looking at this kid, this offensive coordinator, I think he does a pretty good job in terms of calling the right plays at the right time, from what I saw him do at Miles.
Do you have a points per game readout?
Well, going on my prediction of 6-4, I'm thinking you got to average at least 30. You got to average at least 30 points to be competitive in the SWAC.
Most definitely. I would definitely.
Would you agree on that?
I would definitely agree on that. Is the capability there?
On offense, I think so. I actually think so. I think we got enough skilled players that we could score 30 or more. I just see it. I just feel it that way. What do you think? What's your opinion?
I definitely agree with you. I definitely agree, and I feel that we will hold the line and put the points on the board that we need to put on the board. Definitely, like you said, once we get in conference play, we come out of a very, very physical conference. Granted, we have not played in over 600 days, but we come out of a very physical conference, and we know physicality. It's in the water here in Florida.
Exactly.
It's definitely in the water here in Florida. So I do feel that will continue on. So
And you got to remember now, I had coach 6 years in the SWAC.
In the SWAC.
Our offensive line coached several years in the SWAC. So it's not like we don't know the SWAC. We got guys that's been to the SWAC. Our receiver coach is from the SWAC.
Right, most definitely.
Yeah, so it's not like we got going in blind.
So I go back to a question I asked earlier. They have our Wildcats scheduled to finish 4th in the East. Is that prediction wrong?
I think so. See, again, predictions and rankings is all somebody else's perception. You know, how many times have you seen predictions not really fan out very well? Because people are saying what kid's going to do, and they really don't know.
The not to hound on them, but there was a different prediction coming out of Atlanta this past weekend.
Of course, what that prediction was that Alcorn was going to beat them by 40, and Alcorn had all the All-Americans, and Central had all the transfers and freshmen, and they couldn't do it. It was just going to be Alcorn was going to show up. The 40 points was going to be on the scoreboard. Everybody was going to go home happy because that's the outcome they expected.
And what happened?
But then you get a bunch of 18, 19-year-old kids out there. They ain't hearing that. they're not hearing that.
And we all know that the outcome of that contest.
Yeah, they're not hearing it. And really, Daryl, if Central quarterback was a little bit more accurate, that game wouldn't have been close. Wouldn't have been close. I mean, he missed wide open receivers that would have been touchdowns.
So, it's all going to be about physicality.
I think so. League. So you got a team that's physical and going to a conference that is more like what we want to say they are. Finesse.
Definitely.
Yeah, the SWAC is a finesse conference. I mean, even down to the band, they're finesse as well. You know, Bethune comes in, and everybody would agree, nobody plays music as well as Bethune-Cookman. But the SWAC say, yeah, but you can't march. So what would you rather do? Hear good music or see somebody march real fancy? Well, that's going to be just like our football. It ain't going to be pretty. We're not going to make it pretty.
Right.
But when you finish playing us, you're going to know you've been in a ball game. Yeah.
You win an all-out dog fight.
Exactly.
All-out dog fight. Ralph, let's go to UTEP. UTEP goes in to New Mexico State, their first game. They did play in the spring, didn't fare so well in the spring. Come back out against New Mexico, score 30-3 was the final score in that game the other night on last Saturday night. Let's break down UTEP. As far as the UTEP offense, overall team stats, 9 first downs by UTEP, 6 and these are on the ground, 6 rushing by New Mexico State. Total 19 first downs by UTEP, 20 by New Mexico State. Yards on the ground, New Mexico State 209. I'm sorry, New Mexico State 132. UTEP 209. It goes back to our line going up against UTEP. What do you see in that contest?
So it appears that they have a pretty balanced attack, though. So how many yards did they get in the air?
In the air for UTEP, they went 20 of 11. I'm sorry, 11 passes thrown, 20 passes thrown, 11 completed. They averaged 12.45 yards, 249 yards in the air.
And 209 yards.
203 on the ground.
So they're pretty
They
balanced.
lost a couple. Yeah, pretty balanced. So 452 yards of total offense on the evening against New Mexico State on the road.
Well, actually, they sound a lot like us, though.
They do.
Yeah, because we like to run the ball, too.
Definitely.
And we throw the ball just to keep you off balance. And it appears that's what they do, too.
Right,
So
definitely.
it should be interesting because we are a run first team. So, and it appears that that's what they are as well.
As far as time of possession for New Mexico State was 27 minutes, 31 seconds. Time of possession for UTEP was 32 minutes, 29 seconds. How does that factor into a football game?
Well, at the beginning of the season, I think that has a big impact because these kids haven't played in a long time. So, they stayed on the field a long.
So you're telling me there's a difference between practice endurance and game endurance?
It's no comparison. Really, I mean, when you actually playing somebody else other than your roommate, it's a big difference. I mean,
in all facets of football.
Of course.
In all facets of football.
I mean, what you did against your roommate might not work against another guy that doesn't know you. So it seems like UTEP is very similar to Bethune. They got a balanced attack, and they rather run before they pass. They only pass when they have to pass.
They only pass when they have to pass.
So, and that's what Bethune does as well. So it'd be interesting. I can't wait to see our Wildcats go up against Texas El Paso.
A little write-up from the El Paso Times. Of course, we want to see what our opponents are saying about the Wildcats. UTEP is looking for their first 2-0 start since 2005. UTEP has not been on the good end of at the end of games on the good end of the scoreboard since 2005. This is the first meeting between us and the UTEP Miners. Great trip, I think, for all of the Wildcats to travel out to UTEP. They're building this game as UTEP is supposed to win this game. UTEP came out, went on the road against a New Mexico State team, which historically New Mexico State has been good. They have put players in the NFL and been good. There's quite a few guys who've come out of there. Here come the Miners coming in, their first game of the season. They beat New Mexico State by 4 touchdowns.
But you remember what I said? The UTEP was very similar to Bethune.
Down on paper, right?
Look at the penalties. Look at the penalties. They had 14 penalties in that game, 140 yards, and coach says they were all aggressive penalties. Now, what team reminds you of?
What do you mean by aggressive penalties, Ralph? What's aggressive? What's aggressive to you? In the play, and the play keeps on going after the whistle has been blown.
Both. Because coach said, I kind of like those kind of penalties.
Right.
And
that means you got a couple dogs out there,
exactly.
Right? You got a couple
and
dogs.
The one thing about our history over the last 10 years with Bethune-Cookman, we're probably one of the most penalized teams in the conference, but we always win. And you'll hear the experts say a team with that many penalties usually don't win, but we always won.
We always won.
We always won.
Definitely. We always won.
Yeah.
Here you are with that mentality going out there. You haven't played in almost 2 years. So it's amped up. You've been going against, like you said, your roommate for ever, it seems like.
Pretty much.
So now you get to go against some other competition, and is that good? Is that bad? Do you have a little extra in you that you kind of take out on the other team, or if it were you?
Well, I think that we're going to probably be a little cautious when that game starts. Again, we haven't played in, 16, 17 months?
Yes.
But I think as that game go on, I don't see I see us playing a lot of kids.
Definitely.
I see us playing most of the starters the first quarter.
You got to see what your team's
Yes.
like against someone else that
And
you
then-
haven't seen.
And then I see somewhere mid in the second quarter, we start playing a lot of different kids. Which actually, like I said earlier, is going to get us ready for conference.
Definitely.
Because you get kids in the next two games that's going to get a lot of reps. Not against their roommates, but against someone else. So I think that's all good for us.
It is definitely all good for us. We take two second team preseason All-Americans in there in Nicholas Ruse and Ontario Johnson.
Yep.
Nicholas on the offensive line for our Wildcats and Ontario Johnson for the defense for our Wildcats.
Yes.
With their experience, with their senior leadership, going against a team of the stature of UTEP, how much does that help the younger players going into a contest? Maybe they haven't played in a atmosphere as such as these other guys have played. What kind of leadership do we need from those guys?
Well, again, you got your middle linebacker who's a potential All-American, and then you got your tackle who is a potential All-American. What I see happening here is once they go at it, I think then we're going to get confidence.
Definitely.
And that's what we need because we haven't seen ourselves against anybody but our roommates. So I think that once it get going, I think the senior leadership is going to help us. I'd like to have more senior leadership, but we don't have more senior.
We don't have the senior.
We don't have
right,
it.
right.
So
Definitely.
we're going to have to go with what we got. We got one on offense, one on defense. And again, I think by the time we get in conference, I think we're going to be okay.
Definitely.
I think we're going to be okay. But I think Saturday night it's an excellent opportunity for our guys to get all the cobwebs out and know now they back in real football. And I think our kids, I think we got talent. As the season go on, I think we're going to get a lot better than people expected us to be. Because we have the skilled players.
Most definitely, we have those skilled players ready to go, ready to take on some other competition other than ourselves wearing the maroon and gold. Coming up at the 9 o'clock hour, we will go into our Alpha One Staffing BCU versus UTEP game plan. I know we've covered some of our game plan already, but we'll go more in depth. Now, a word from our sponsor, Alpha One Staffing.
When a disaster strikes, will you step in to help your community? Alpha One Staffing is currently seeking disaster debris monitors to assist in supporting our neighbors, businesses, and government institutions by supervising the debris cleanup efforts. Alpha One Staffing, a leader in Florida staffing solutions, partners with state and local governments to provide trained debris removal monitors to supervise complex disaster debris operations, focusing on compliance and safety. These monitors will not be handling the physical labor, but the oversight of debris removal. To learn more about this position and to apply, please visit alphaonestaffing.com.
And there you have it, fans. Alpha One Staffing is currently hiring for debris monitors to head out to help the folks in Louisiana. We're keeping our neighbors and families in prayer in the Gulf Coast area. And Alpha One is helping in the debris cleanup assistance. Call the people or reach out at alphaonestaffing.com, alphaonestaffing.com for employment needs. Ralph, it's time for our game plan. Kickoff, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, out in El Paso, Texas.
What?
Give me your keys to win.
I think Bethune has to establish the run on offense. I think they have to mix the pass in to keep UTEP off balance. I think they have to be consistent with a lot of continuity. On defense, we got to show them and demonstrate our quickness and not let them get settled into what they want to do let them play our game rather than us playing their game. And I think the defense will come alive somewhere midway through the first quarter. Once they get their feet under them, and I think we're going to be okay.
What are the keys to moving the ball in the first half?
We got to run our big back, Ladarius. We got to run him, and then we got to mix in some of the speed guys. And then, of course, we got to get our tight ends in the game. We got to get the tight ends in the game, and I think we got 2 fantastic tight ends.
How many times do we throw to the tight ends to keep UTEP, the Miners, off balance? How many times do you need to get them the ball? Let's say the receiving core.
See, I think you got to attack the middle of the field.
Definitely, most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
And what better way to attack them with 2-6-6 tight ends?
Definitely. With speed.
Yeah, with
And
speed.
and we saw some things this week that it looks like we're going that way. Of course, you nor I have the actual game plan of where we're going to go, but we have a good idea of how we're going to attack those guys. Got to go vertical. Got to go down the field. Then you got to run some digs. You got to post routes, things of that nature. You got to Marcus Riley. You got DJ Powell. There's a lot of guys who can help stretch that field, and we haven't, like you say, we're not even talking about the tight ends at that point. We're talking just the receiver core.
And in addition to that, we have 2 freshmen that have blazing speed.
Definitely.
That we can deke and dunk with, too. Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, Wildcat fans, we got a lot of new people, but we got a lot of new and exciting people. We got some speed on that team. As he mentioned, Marcus Riley, who I think is probably the best route runner. He will be the best route runner in this white conference.
Most definitely. I totally agree with you in route running. Very crisp in his routes. Very, very studied.
Yes.
In his route running. And you
Most
don't
definitely.
see a lot of that these days. And that's very important. That's very important. Running routes, it's all about timing. It's all about timing, when you make your breaks and things of that nature, and that's how you throw the ball down the field. How will our offensive line?
So again, that's going to be interesting because we got a couple of new guys on that line, and we have a new center, and I think we got a new guard, and I think we might have a new tackle. So again, I think after they run a series and understand what they got to do.
Get the feel. Yeah.
Get a feel. They got to get a feel for it. Because even if you go to practice, they're never going 100%.
No.
So once they got to get that feel. I think that's going to be a pretty good unit. It's going to be interesting.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. We'll move to our defensive side of the ball. What do we have to do on defense? We know that the Miners put up 30 points against New Mexico State the other night. What do we have to do to help us to stay in that contest?
Well, they want to run the ball, and we got to stop it.
We got to stop it.
Yeah,
we got to be studs up front. We truly have to be dogs up front. We're going to have to, I believe, run some stunts and be staunch up the middle.
Yeah, definitely. Because if we make them uncomfortable and they start trying to throw the ball, then we know we got them. but again, I think Coach is going to play a lot of players.
Yes.
I think he's going to look at a lot of different players, which that's what he should be doing, playing a team in the class of UTEP, play a lot of players. So I think you'll see a lot.
Get them ready for conference.
Yeah, I think you'll see a lot the first and second quarter. But then I think third, fourth quarter, we're going to start playing a lot of kids. So, but if we could stop them in the first quarter from doing what they want to do, I think that'll tell us a lot about what kind of team we're going to have.
Let me ask you this. If you're saying we will probably play a lot of players later on in the game, and not to put words in your mouth, is that saying that at that point in time will we be in that contest?
I don't. Regardless, I think we're going to play them anyway.
Okay, gotcha.
Because I think coach is more interested in getting his team ready,
right,
conference
for
play.
winning.
Yeah,
and,
when it
not
really
to
counts.
take anything from UTEP,
Yeah.
but when it really matters.
When it really matters.
When it really matters.
So he got players he really want to take a look at.
Right.
You can't really take a serious look at him in practice.
Right.
But you can in a game. So I think he has 2 games to really figure out what kind of team he really has.
Right.
And that's what he's going to do. I think he's a very intelligent man, and I think he's going to make the right call, and I think a lot of kids going to get some opportunities to make a play.
Will we, in your opinion, and I know we're kind of jumping around here, do we have a solidified quarterback?
I think for the most part, I think Patrick Shannon is going to be our starter. I think now, Bethune has always, over the last 10 years, played 2 quarterbacks.
Definitely.
And I think after looking at yesterday's practice, I'm not going to say, but I think I got a really good feeling
who could come number 2.
And I think he's going to play a lot more than what we think.
We saw this young man just literally come in, take over.
Yes.
Quick release. I think one pass was batted down, which was totally not his fault. And as Ralph said, we're not going to call names, but you just got to tune in to see or fly to El Paso with us. But
we were timing him, and he was
quick
releasing that ball in
release.
2.5 seconds.
Very quick
Release. He made his decision, bam, and he went there.
Which takes you back to the Florida Classic.
Exactly.
Quick release in the Florida Classic. We win that game for number 9. That's almost what you have to have, especially with the smaller D linemen.
Yeah.
They're quick getting through the line.
Right.
You got about maybe 3 seconds to get rid of the ball before somebody is penetrating through the line to get back there.
Yeah.
And we're not even talking about blitzing. We're talking about just straight up and down.
I mean, because it's not like a social.
Right.
You got to get rid of the ball, and that's what that kid showed yesterday.
Yes, he did.
We timed it was like most of the time 2.5 seconds.
Yes, he did.
Which that was quick.
Oh, very quick. That's
quick.
That's what you need in big boy ball.
Yeah, you got to get rid of the ball.
That's what you need in big boy ball.
You just can't hold on to it.
Definitely.
So, like I said, I'm almost sure he's going to get around to playing 2 quarterbacks, because that's what we've done for the last 10 years. Played 2 quarterbacks.
Definitely.
And it was always situational. And like Coach used to say, whoever get it going is going to play.
That's so true.
Now, a lot of people say, "Oh, well, you got to decide which guy is going to be the leader." Well, the way we've done it over the last 10 years worked for us. So,
right.
And
if it's not broke,
yeah,
you know the rest of that story.
Yeah, definitely.
Ralph, Bethune-Cookman versus UTEP coming up this weekend. 7 p.m. kickoff, Mountain Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Do you have a final score for the contest this weekend? Or would you rather?
I'd rather not.
Okay. All right. I understand. Coming up in the next minute, we will start our Turn Up the Volume live call-in segment. Call in 386-868-0635. Talk to the Hill Wildcats armchair quarterbacks. That's 386-868-0635. We will start taking calls here shortly. Ralph, great week of practice, preparation. Are our Wildcats ready?
I think we are. I think we are ready. We understand what we're going out. It's a business trip.
Definitely
It's
business.
strictly a business trip.
Definitely
And
business trip.
we're going to go out and we're gonna do it the Wildcat way, and we're going to show up and show out.
Definitely. Guaranteed.
Absolutely.
Call us on our live call-in. Turn up the volume segment, 386-868-0635. We're here talking Wildcat football. It's an exciting time. We have taken off almost 2 years. For the obvious, we're back to football, fans. We're back to Wildcat football. I'm excited. I know Ralph's excited.
Absolutely.
I know Jerry's excited. I know our whole group of Hill Wildcats contributors are excited, and I know one definitely is going to probably be calling in. So he was chomping at the bit. I had to shut the phone down on him earlier just so he wouldn't call in earlier on the show. It's 386-868-0635. That's 386-868-0635. We are live here on the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show. Call in, turn up the volume in our live call segment. Let's talk Wildcat football. 386-868-0635. Ralph, traveling to UTEP.
I can't wait to get there, but all you Wildcats out there, maybe you can't make this trip, but we got to get out and support the Wildcats. We need your support. The kids need your support. The coach needs your support. Come out and support your Wildcat team.
386-868-0635. That's 386-868-0635. Here on the live call-in segment. Al Walker, you out there in Radio Land. We're looking for Al Walker. We're looking for all Wildcats. He might be too excited. He might be walking to El Paso. Yeah, he's that kind of guy, man. He's that kind of guy that he's ready for some Wildcat football, as I am, and I know you are. 386-868-0635. 386-868-0635. I know a lot of our listening audience is probably tuned in to college football. I believe NC State is playing, I believe that's USF. One of our hometown guys is at NC State, Mr. Cyrus Fagan, playing there in their defensive backfield. Hopefully Cyrus is out there having a great game for the Wolfpack. 386-868-0635. You're on the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show 2021. And lo and behold, we have a caller. Caller, you're on the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show. Welcome. Hello, caller. You're on the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show. Hill Wildcats, Mr. Al Walker. Welcome back to the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show. How's it going, my guy? We totally understand, man. It's been a great week of practice for our Wildcats. A lot of jovial running around out at practice, getting ready for this contest. You'd be very proud of your Wildcats getting prepared to head out to UTEP. What are you looking for from the Wildcats Saturday? We can't move on to the other games yet. We got to take care of UTEP first. Al, what are you looking for from our Wildcats this year? Postseason play. SWAC championship and then Celebration Bowl. Maroon and gold. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Al, any closing words for our guests? before you take off and yes, sir. There go that man right there. Yes, sir. Most definitely. Most definitely. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Walker, and we look forward to talking to you next Thursday night. You have a final score for this weekend's game. I want. All right, victorious. Victorious is there. You go. There you go. Victory shall be mine. Well, there you have it from. There you have it from Al Walker. Al, thank you for calling in, man, and we look forward to hearing from you for the rest of the season, man. Thank you for all you do to help out the Hell Wildcats X and O show. Yes, sir. Thank you. Take care, man. There you have it, Al Walker on the Hell Wildcats X and O show. 386-868-0635. I see we have a question from Mr. Allridge. How does the offense look with the new offensive coordinator?
I think they look pretty good. Again, he appears to be a run-first offensive coordinator, and that's Bethune-Cookman football.
Just coming in, hadn't had a lot of a lot of time on campus to really install a lot. So he had to hit the ground running,
Right.
and I'm sure, being a coach myself, probably put in some wrinkles to a lot of the things that we worked on during the spring. And like I said, hadn't had a lot of time to put in many plays. We did see some stuff that we haven't seen particularly. Don't know if we'll see it Saturday, but there is some stuff that we haven't seen that looked good. It remains to be seen. I don't think you'll see the true regime, as we would say, for the offensive coordinator until the Thursday night game against Alabama A&M. I think that will be the coming out party. I think, like you said earlier, that's what would matter when we get into the conference play. You don't want to show things too early against UCF or anyone like that. So we'll see, but things look good. Things look good.
Again, as you have stated before, this guy came in July 31st.
Right, definitely.
So he got 28 days to put in offense.
Yes,
So
yes.
we would have loved to have had him during the spring, but unfortunately that didn't happen. But I think we got a good guy, and we got to go with him.
There you go.
Yeah.
Carly, you're on the Hell Wildcats X's and O's show. Welcome. Hey, Willie, how's it going, man? Glad to have you on the Hell Wildcats X's and O's show. Everything been good with you? Pretty good, pretty good. Me and Ralph are just holding it down for the Wildcats, cheering them on to victory, and I know you're doing that yourself. Willie, we're finally back to football, maroon and gold football, the true football that matters. I totally understand. I'm right there with you, brother. I'm right there with you. Willie, what are you looking for out of the Wildcats this year? Definitely so. We we do have a Jimmy Robinson on our roster. It is Jimmy Robinson the third, which is Jimmy Robinson the second's brother. Yeah. That's so. We have him in the backfield this year. Yeah, very similar players. Same speed, everything. So looking forward to some great things out of him. Same with Quayshawn Bird. Those two are like Mike and Ike back there in the backfield. Right, definitely. Hopefully so. We're hoping that we get that opportunity to knock those guys off and we can get to the promised land of where we're supposed to be this year. The guys have bought in from what we've seen in practice. The guys have bought in to what coaches has been teaching them, and I think it'll factor in. It will definitely factor in. We truly appreciate. Most definitely, we got to support them, and you heard it from Willie Jackson himself. We got to stay behind our guys, support them. Let's get our fans out to games. Let's get them out. Let's cheer on our Wildcats, no matter where we're playing. We have all kind of transportations going to these games, and we thank you, Willie, for all the support that you've continued to give the Wildcats and Bethune-Cookman University. Hey, you too. Thanks for calling in, and we look forward to hearing from you next week, hopefully. All right. Have a good night. Yes, sir. You too. 386-868-0635. 386-868-0635. Call in to the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show. Let's talk Wildcat football. It's been almost 2 years. A year and 10 months since we talked Wildcat football. It's time. It's time to come out of the woodworks. It's time to support our Wildcats once again. We're looking forward to a great and exciting season. We want to cheer on our Wildcats, and we want to support Coach Sims. So call in 386-868-0635. 386-868-0635. We have time for about 2 more callers. 386-868-0635. We want to hear from you. Let's talk Wildcat football. Ralph?
Well, again, we need your support. The Wildcats need your support. We just hope that you're there. As Daryl had mentioned, there's a lot of people traveling to Bethune games. They have a lot of plans. You need to find out who's going where and jump on and let's show the SWAC who we are.
The SWAC travels well. That's one thing we have not covered. And I know we're not playing the SWAC this week, but let's go ahead and preempt the travel from the SWAC. If many don't know, and this is not to pull on their coattails, but Jackson State owns the attendance record in FCS. That's not HBCU football. That's FCS.
And if you think about it, Jackson State probably haven't won over 5 games in the last several years, but their fans
23,000 a
Yeah.
game.
Their fans
23,000
are
a
there.
game.
and supporting them. And, we've been quite successful at Bethune-Cookman, and we need your support. And we know you have supported us. We need you to continue to support the Wildcats.
386-868-0635. 386-868-0635. Ralph, we have about 10 people going to El Paso with us on Saturday. Flying up Saturday morning. Going to take in a little of Texas while we look over the border and see Mexico. If you've never been to El Paso, Texas, it's a treat to go out and see, and we'll as I say, we'll look right over the border. Juarez, Mexico is right there. I see Ralph laughing. Ralph, what? Tell me a little about your laugh.
Being an ex-Marine, that was going into Mexico was. Yeah, that's where you Marines love to go to Mexico.
Definitely.
And as I was telling Daryl yesterday, I never took that trip because most of the guys that went down there
didn't come back the same.
back the same way. So, I'm excited to look over and see Mexico, but
that's about it,
I'm
right?
not going into Mexico.
Right. We're not going over into Mexico. I have ventured over there a couple of times, but I got back across the bridge, so. And back through the gate. And I'm glad to be here today. So 386-868-0635, 386-868-0635. We want to hear from you, Wildcats. Huge shout out to our good friends, Miss Emma Price and Miss Ruthie Williams. Hope Miss Emma's recovery is going well, and we look forward to seeing her soon. Shout out to the Graves and all our travel guests. Shout out to Miss Betty Robinson. Prayers to her and her family, and Coach Albert Williams. Same thing. Ralph, as we get ready to wrap our show up, just tell me how you feel about football being back.
Well, I'm excited, of course, and but I'm more excited about the Wildcats, and I think that we're going to surprise a lot of people. Because they don't know us. At least they say they don't know us. But they will know us. And they're going to know us real soon.
Right.
And we're going to show them who the Wildcats are. Because
Definitely.
we don't do a lot of talking.
Definitely.
We do our talking on the field.
Most definitely. There's a lot of talking to be had.
A lot of talking in the swag.
A lot of talking. Definitely a lot of talking in the swag. Caller, you're on the Hill Wildcats X and O show. Welcome. Yes, sir. Welcome to the Hill Wildcats X and O show. We have quite a few guys returning. We have some surprises of guys that we thought were probably done playing, and they're back, such as Teron Mallard, the tight end from New Bern, North Carolina. So we do have quite a few returning players. As we said, Devin Black. Devin Black's been on the roster for, I think, about 3 years here with the Wildcats. DJ Powell. A lot of our guys have changed numbers, but they have been here with us, so they will bring in that Wildcat football experience that we've come to know. All right, right on. Most definitely, and I'm right there with you. That game came down to some last minute stuff, and we're gonna miss old Devin James. We were talking earlier at football practice yesterday where Ryan Stanley threw that ball twice to the same place, and he made the worst mistake on the second one. You know, fool me once. You got me. Fool me twice, it wasn't going to happen to the Wildcat. That's just not how it goes for us. Shannon Patrick? Yes, sir. He came from Arkansas Pine Bluff in JUCO. Put up great numbers in JUCO, and the same at University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. So he's staying in the SWAC, and he's back to play with us for this year.
And he a Florida boy too.
Yes, from West Palm Beach. From West Palm Beach. Yeah. Okay. We definitely have a lot of we definitely have a lot of quarterbacks. Yeah, we definitely have that. We definitely have that. Yes, sir. We do. We do. And yes, sir. Go ahead. Yes, sir. That is correct. That is correct. No. Definitely not. Definitely not. Not easy at all. Definitely so. Definitely so. Yes, sir. Rudolph McKissick. Yes, sir. Out of Jacksonville. We will definitely prevail. We will definitely prevail. Definitely so. Well, thank you for calling in, Mr. Jackson, and we look forward to hearing from you next week on the Hail Wildcats X's and O's show. And Hail Wildcats. Yes, sir. Have a good evening. Yes, sir. Goodbye. 386-868 0635 386-868-0635. And I know our founder of Hail Wildcats, I think he was trying to call in. We're going to try to bring him on for closing words for our show, Mr. Jerry Bell. 386-868-0635 386-868-0635. Mr. Jerry Bell, welcome to the Hail Wildcats X's and O's show.
What did he say?
He says he's not going to feel good till he gets a greeting from you.
How you doing?
We're doing good. We're doing good. Jerry Bell, founder, CEO of HailWildcats.com, on the phone with us. Jerry, I know you've missed Wildcat football. Don't say that too loud. I heard that. I definitely heard that. Jerry, what are you looking for out of this season? We definitely have. Definitely. Most definitely. I truly feel you. It's we missed that. We missed that. It's been a year and about 10 months since we have felt any of that and been around our Wildcat family. So it's time to get it back, and we're going to kick it off in grand fashion out in Texas on this weekend. Definitely. Definitely so. Definitely so. That's what it comes down to. And that's the mentality we have to take into this contest on Saturday. That's definitely the mentality. Jerry, how can you be found? What is hellwildcats.com? Or what's Hell Wildcats? Most definitely, most definitely. And while you're there, like we said, join us on some of our trips. Let's go wildcats.org, which is our travel arm of hellwildcats.com. So there is a way to follow Bethune-Cookman football. There is definitely a way to follow Bethune-Cookman football. Closing words. Yes, sir. We definitely have to support our guys. We have to definitely support Bethune-Cookman Athletics,
Absolutely.
and not just athletics, but Bethune-Cookman University.
Exactly.
It's time for us to come together and support. That's what we're here for. We're here for support and giving you insight into Bethune-Cookman football. Closing words, Mr. Bell. Most definitely, and we're expecting the same. Go check us out, hillwildcats.com, for all of your up-to-date information into Bethune-Cookman football, Bethune-Cookman athletics. Thank you, Jerry, for calling in, man. We're glad that we were able to get you on tonight. And Hail Wildcats.
All right, Jerry. See you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. Well, there you have it. Let's close it out.
Well,
Give me your final thoughts for this weekend, our first contest in over 600 days.
well, first of all, we're going to have fun.
Guaranteed.
Secondly, we're going to see our boys perform, and we're going to see them show folks in Texas who's Bethune-Cookman University. And we're going to support them, and we're going to not only support them this first game, we're going to support them all games. And we need you guys to come and join us one way or other and support the Wildcats.
There you have it from Ralph Smith. Come support the Wildcats. I'd like to thank Mr. Ralph Smith for being on the show with us tonight. Look forward to having him on next Thursday night, and we will have another guest on with us next Thursday night on the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show. Wildcat fans, Wildcat family, let's support the Wildcats. That's what we're here for. God gave us the opportunity to be here another day, and those that have left us and gone on, that's what they would want us to do, to support the Wildcats in a safe and healthy manner. God bless you. Stay healthy, mask up, get your vaccination, and God bless you. Hail Wildcats. Until next Thursday, for Ralph Smith and Daryl Williams, good night.